Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hey, what's up, Dave? Taylor from Columbus. It's my hope that Shedeur gets traded to a city that will support and embrace him, because no Browns QB in the history of this franchise has done what he did this past Sunday. Yet the only thing he has received is minimal praise, but a lot more criticism, constant critiquing and criticizing because he wasn't perfect. And I know if he was perfect, that this hypocritical, biased Cleveland fan base will still find fault in him. So hopefully he gets traded outside of Cleveland, goes on to have a great career in Cleveland, gets what they want, a QB that looks like Bailey Zappi, Johnny Manziel, Tim Couch, or Baker. Because if any of them did what Shedeur did this past Sunday, the fan base would be saying, we found our QB and let's be patient and support him, allow him to develop.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Jimmy, again, I get there's a lot of Shedeur supporters. Again, it's progress. He made progress. That's what I would say. What's your takeaway from what you saw from Shedeur? And again, there is a crazy amount of Shedeur supporters that he can do no wrong. I like what I've seen, but I'm not ready to say he's the guy just yet.
It is ironic to call the line the voicemail of truth and reason. We're talking about Shedeur Sanders because I feel like, depending on what your internet algorithm is, you have a different truth, and there's absolutely no reason when it comes to this conversation, right? Can we don't just take a breath? Shedeur had a really good game. He was excellent.
Yeah.
On Sunday, independent of how good or bad the Titans are, and the Titans aren't very good, and it's okay to say that. But independent of how good or bad the Titans are, he was excellent. He was pressured 30 times. He was only sacked twice. That's impressive. That's extending plays. He was under pressure, I think 63% of the time. He still threw for 360 yards. That's impressive. He was throwing the ball down the field with a group of receivers that, after watching them for the first however many weeks before he got in there, we didn't think it was possible for the Browns to complete downfield passes. That's very impressive. He was showing touch. He was showing accuracy, all of the good traits that we saw from him at Colorado coming out of the draft. Kevin Stefanski even praised him today for a play where he extended the play and looked and threw the ball away instead of forcing it into traffic and potentially putting it in harm's way. Obviously, he threw a bad interception in that game as well. But I think he's growing in a lot of areas, and that Titans game showed that he was stepping up in the pocket instead of going backwards. He was doing so many good things in that game, and yet it's still one game. This idea, because I live on, because I think I self-select for this stuff because it's kind of my job to push back against, or at least challenge myself if I have an opinion that centers with the general consensus, right? I think none of us are doing our job if our job is to generate conversation and we're all talking about the same thing, right? So my experience with the Shedeur is that there's an over-enthusiasm with him, and every good throw that he has is magnified, and the mistakes are, the blame is placed on the Browns. I just think that we all can come together and say, we don't need to look back and start asking, well, why wasn't he playing 5 weeks ago? Because he dominated the Titans. I don't know, man. Dillon Gabriel was playing against harder defenses. It was probably better for Shedeur for him to come in when he did. He hasn't played a single defense that's ranked higher than, I think, 21st in EPA per play allowed. And that's not hate. That's context. And it's a good entry point for a young rookie quarterback, right? That's a positive. And maybe it's possible. Just stay with me. Maybe it's possible that a young quarterback coming out of a system that Andrew Berry described during the preseason as translating English into Mandarin, maybe he did need a little bit more time to grasp the concepts than the guy in front of him, Dillon Gabriel, who played games of college football ever and played for 3 different schools under multiple different coordinators. That's okay. It's most likely the case that Dillon Gabriel came out into training camp ahead of Shedeur Sanders in that regard, even if Shedeur was the more talented player the entire time. And that's okay. Why don't we just look forward and be excited and see what he can do to build off of this stuff than to just argue about who gets the credit and why it didn't happen sooner?
I'm with you. And you know what? He has improved. There have been areas that you can tell he's working on and he's improved.